Hi, so I think there's a lot of misunderstanding and confusion outside of the aim training circle about how sensitivity works and how to choose your sensitivity. There's a lot of nonsensical advice like following a professional player's sensitivity. I mean, this stuff changes every day to day, or stuff like just use whatever you're comfortable with. They're all the same. So today I'll give you a more scientific and systematic breakdown of how sensitivity works and what the trade-offs are for each sense, and how you should pick your sensitivity based on your skill level as well as the demands of your game. So basically, lower sensitivity is easier to use but has a lower skill ceiling and more limitations, and a higher sensitivity is harder to use but has a higher skill ceiling overall. So allow me to explain. First, let's look at why a lower sensitivity is easier to use. So look at this bot, right? I'll pick two sensitivities as examples. For the lower sense, I'll pick 80 centimeters per 360. This means that I have to move 80 centimeters on my mouse pad to turn a full 360. For the higher sense, I'll pick 40 centimeters per 360, which means that I have to move my mouse pad now half the amount of distance. Hence, my sense doubled from 80 down to 40 centimeters to turn a full 360. So 80 cm is in Valorant would be 0.1 1600 DPI or 0.2 on 800, and 40 cm would be 0.2 on 800. Sorry, 0.2 on 1600 or 0.4 on 800. So like Demon 1 plays on 80 cm, Scourge and some other guys plays on like 40 cm. So let's start with 80 cm. Now I'm going to make up a number about the range of motion. So, but the example will still stand regardless of what number you pick. So let's say that from the right side of this bot's head, I move it to the left. This motion on 80 cm is a 6 millimeter motion I'm making with my mouse. This means that if I place my mouse in this imaginary 6 millimeter circle, right, I'm going to hit him in the head. Now if I switch to 40 cm, which is double the sense, now this motion has become 3 millimeters, right? It has halved. So if I move my mouse from the right of his head to the left of his head, now this used to be a 6 millimeter like range. Now this has become a 3 millimeter range, which means that physically speaking, before I had to move my mouse within this 6 millimeter bubble to hit him in the head, but now I have to move my mouse more precisely into a 3 millimeter bubble to hit him in the head. This is why lower sense is easier. Relatively speaking, there is more room for error for your mouse motions. It's basically like that, relatively speaking, his head is bigger. So on like half your sense, the enemy's head is basically twice as big. You can think about it like that. The fundamental trade-off is in both speed and versatility. So naturally, on a lower sense, it's much more difficult to produce like fast motions than it is on a higher sense. This means that against reactive targets and unexpected scenarios, you may be at a relative disadvantage than if you were on a higher sense, right? So for example, turning flashes, obviously, making large flicks to someone who appear on the side of your screen that you didn't expect from. This also includes making fine vertical adjustments, actually, because usually vertical adjustments are done by pushing your fingers outwards to extend your mouse away from your palm to turn up, and then pulling the mouse inwards by using your fingers again to like curling them up so it pulls the mouse closer to your palm to look down. When you are on a very low sense, this motion is may become like a hybrid arm motion, because you simply cannot your camera doesn't turn in-game enough from the maximum range of motion that your fingertips can offer, right? Even if you push your fingers all the way up to push the mouse as far away from your palm as possible, you may still not get the vertical adjustments that you want because you're on such a low sensitivity. So, and the other thing is against reactive targets. So for example, in a game where the enemy strafe patterns are somewhat erratic and can change momentarily, such as Apex, you may need to quickly read the target and make very fine, very quick micro adjustments to stay on target. And on a very low sense, making that micro adjustment very quickly may be very difficult. So once again, counterintuitive to what you're trying to achieve with a lower sense. The versatility part comes in when the environment is more chaotic. So if you need to look around a lot for information, or to shoot down objects, utility and such, or if you need to, for example, dodge flashes, or just in general be more adapted to the scenario, on a lower sense it's more difficult because, again, you can't turn as quickly and you can't really react to information as quickly. It ties back to the first point. As well as in a game where you may need to perform very long tracking motions, so most tracking games, a lower sense may prevent you from doing that because you will run out of mousepad space. So you may want to pick a sensitivity that's more suitable so that you don't run out of mousepad space. In conclusion, it's very simple. You should start off with a lower sense, relatively speaking. I'll give a range of values at the end of the video for each game. But you should start off with a relatively lower sense and slowly work your way towards a higher sense as you get better and better mouse control by training. Now, when training, the sensitivity is a whole nother issue on its own, because most successful aim training drills relies on adaptability and essentially changing your sense to push your body to get adjusted to every scenario possible, which we're not going to touch on in this video. But strictly speaking about performance in game, when you are worse, you should try to stick to a lower sense, and when you get better, you should try to up your sense slowly, bit by bit, so that you can become more versatile and adaptive. Okay, what is good and what is bad is dependent on you. Are you hitting the amount of heads that you want in this game? Are you hitting the amount of shots? Are you over flicking, right? Are you having, like, how good is your attention control? Do you have shaky landings? I.e., when you get close to a target, do you slow down? Right? Are you able to hit people with your first bullet? These are all things for you to consider. So in some way, it is tailored towards you. But in general, if you want more precision, you want easier, like quote-unquote easier aiming, lower sense will provide you with more room of error. But if you are more skilled, then a higher sense may provide you with the versatility that you need. So for a more staticky type of game, more predictable type of game, such as CS or Valorant, I'll recommend a sense from 80 cm down to 50 cm. And for a more tracking based kind of game like Apex or COD, I will recommend a sense from 70 cm down to 30-35 cm. If you want to know exactly what cm per 360 your current sense is, or what your sensing game should be based on what the desired CM you want is, you can use an online calculator. There's tons around, or you can use the built-in Kovacs function, which is what I use.